Welcome to This Explainer, where we're going to completely pull back the curtain on the bustling world of restaurant ownership. I want you to imagine walking into a packed restaurant, right? Every single table is full, customers are laughing, servers are rushing all over the place, and that cash register just never seems to stop ringing. From the outside looking in, it looks like... But today, we're going to discover why what you see in the dining room is really only half the story, and we'll explore the hidden economics behind every single meal. So picture this. If you're the owner of the Friday night hotspot, it feels like every new customer walking through the door just means more money in your pocket, right? I mean, it certainly looks like the owner is making a fortune. Stop and ask, does all of that activity actually mean they're making money? It's a tough question, and honestly, it's one that a lot of first-time restaurant owners discover the answer to the hard way. Well, let's just go ahead right now, because the surprising secret of this industry, and really the reason it has one of the absolute toughest reputations in business, is that a restaurant can be completely full brim and still lose money. Selling food and making money are two completely different things, and grasping that disconnect is the very first step to truly understand the food industry. To put it into perspective, look at it like this. You've got Restaurant A, which pumps out a massive volume of meals every day, almost everything it earns just to keep the lights on. Then you have Restaurant B. They actually sell fewer meals, but they carefully control their costs. Ultimately, they keep a much higher profit. Most people naturally assume Restaurant A makes more money because it's busier, but Restaurant B is the real winner here. Revenue might look super impressive on paper, but financial efficiency is well. All right, let's dive into Section 1, the expense gauntlet, and see where the money really goes. Okay, so let's step behind the kitchen doors to see the brutals that are just chopping away at every single pound earned. If we follow the money on a typical 15-pound burger, it's wild how fast that cash disappears. It sounds like an expensive burger, right? A huge chunk goes to ingredient costs, your meat, your bread, the cooking oil. Then comes payroll for the chefs, the servers, and dishwashers. Plus, the incredibly high factor in long-running utilities like commercial ovens and massive freezers, and finally, taxes. What you are actually left with is this tiny actual profit. But wait, the real danger is the sheer volume of hidden costs that customers never... We're talking about an absolute avalanche of expenses. If ingredients go bad, that is literal money being the trash. Then there are sudden equipment repairs, which, always seem to happen right in the middle of a crazy Friday night rush. And did you know restaurants even have to pay for music licenses just to play background tunes while you eat? Processing fees, constant cleaning supplies, and those really expensive insurance premiums, and you can start to see the immense daily pressure on an owner just to break even. So the whole crucial point here is perfectly captured in this very famous industry. Pay the bills, profit does. You literally cannot celebrate a 10,000-pound day of high sales until every single food supplier, dishwasher, utility company, and tax collector is paid. It's only when every single expense is completely cleared that you find out if you had over. Which brings us right to Section 2, the real profit drivers, and uncovering the actual secrets here. Because think about it, if the main meals, like that 15-pound burger we just talked about, profits due to those crazy high ingredient and labor costs, where does the money actually come from? Well, the math here is super straightforward, but honestly, it's completely mind-blowing. Items like a standard restaurant well under a single pound to make, but they easily sell for 3 or 4 pounds. The exact same goes for coffee, the beans, the milk, the cup. It all costs mere pennies, but customers will gladly pay several pounds for a fresh latte. These beverages are absolute profit engines for smart owners, basically sub-margins on the main food dishes. And this feeds right into a vital industry concept called increasing the average ticket size. This is exactly why your server always asks, super politely, if you'd like to start with some garlic bread or if you want to take a peek at the dessert menu after your meal. It is a highly calculated move. Customers honestly don't plan to order dessert when they sit down, but just asking that simple question can add several pounds to the final bill with very little extra cost or effort for the kitchen. Let's put that into perspective to show the macro impact of these microeconomics. Just imagine a restaurant gets 200 customers in a single day. If every one of those to spend just 5 pounds more on an extra item, like a quick coffee or a slice of cheesecake, that generates a staggering 1,000 pounds in additional daily sales. Over an entire year, these tiny strategic increases are exactly what separates a struggling restaurant from a wildly profitable one. The really savvy owners don't just rely on the physical tables in their dining room. They diversify. They tap into takeaway and delivery apps to reach people sitting on their couches at home. They book lucrative, large-scale catering gigs for weddings and corporate events where one single order can equal customers. They cultivate incredible customer loyalty through rewards because keeping a regular is way cheaper than trying to constantly find new customers. And finally, they often have a super niche focus. They don't try to be everything to everyone. They just aim to be the absolute best pizza word-of-mouth marketing. Okay, let's move into our final section, Section 3, the anatomy of a survivor, and look at why most actually fail. Armed with secrets, we can kind of look at the darker side of the industry. What actually makes the difference between a survivor and a failure? Well, the ultimate failure almost always comes down to one simple thing: running. And the fatal mistake for a lot of super passionate first-time owners happens before a single meal is even served. They overspend on luxury decorations, fancy furniture, and top-of-the-line kitchen equipment before they eat. This creates an absolutely insurmountable mountain of financial pressure right from day one, which means their expenses are growing way faster than their early profits ever could. And here's another massive pitfall: lots of menus. Huge menus sound great to customers, but behind the scenes, they cause absolute chaos. They require massive storage space, they lead to huge food waste when obscure ingredients inevitably go bad, and they just overrations. On the flip side, the real survivors stick to simple menus. Doing this lets them focus on exceptional quality, buy way fewer ingredients in larger bulk quantities, and operate their kitchens incredibly fast. So, to thrive in this totally brutal industry, owners have to follow a data-driven winning formula. Step 1. You simplify the menu and your operations to aggressively reduce waste. Obsess over a friendly, highly consistent customer experience. Because look, great food brings people in the door, but great service is what actually brings them back. And step 3, make decisions based on weekly financial data, not your gut feelings. Smart owners focus on tiny bit on waste or serving a table just slightly faster because they know those little micro improvements add up to thousands of pounds over the course of a year. So, I want to leave you with this one provocative thought today. The next time you restaurant, I want you to look past the delicious food on your plate. Take a look around at the servers, the drinks being poured, the pure speed of the kitchen, and ask yourself, can economics keeping the lights on? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep observing, and I'll see you next time as we uncover the hidden mechanics of the world around us.